Hey, good afternoon, guys. Really excited about this first exhibition game. The guys have obviously been playing against themselves for quite a long time, and whenever they have a chance to play against an opponent not named Alabama, I know that's something that they're really looking forward to. Um, we are strategically planned on having this be a part of a doubleheader. In our first game, Stillman plays Mobile, and this is a uh, part of a community-wide effort in terms of supporting Stillman and trying to help them their program in terms of having a resurgence and help them re-energize their program and partnering with them. So they'll play at 4:30, and then we'll play at 7. UAH, obviously, we've already had a press conference in Huntsville, and Coach Lenny does a great job. He's a legend. He's been coaching for 27 years and 20 plus years at UAH and 500 plus victories, and he knows what he's doing. And they played an exhibition game here in 2011, and Jermichael Green, who's in the NBA, had to bail us out and win that game 67-60. So we're going to have to play. And with the way we've been playing defense here recently in practice, I'm not going to be surprised by anything because we're still trying to figure out the value of playing on the defensive end of the floor. We love offense, but playing on the defensive end of the floor is something that we're still trying to mature in as a team. So I'm excited, for our fans to come out and have a chance to look at us in some real live action. We thought the second half of our Tide tip-off event where we played a half, unlike the first 2 years we've been here, we thought that was a huge success, just giving our fans a little bit of a snapshot of our team. But this will be a real live game, and I know they're going to come in fired up, ready to play.
Avery, earlier today, another school said they were going to hold 2 players out that were implicated in the FBI probe. I'm just asking, are all of your players eligible to play, and are all hands going to be on deck Monday?
We're moving forward the roster that we have, and that's all I'll say about that. I'm not going to comment on another school, but as far as our team, we're moving forward with the roster that we have. We're moving forward with the roster that we have. So we have 13 scholarship players and 2 walk-ons.
Takeaways from the scrimmage with Baylor
and
obviously seeing a team playing a scrimmage is a lot different than seeing them practice. So was there anything that you learned about your team just saying?
Well, Matt, we can't talk about it specifically and give a lot of details, but generally speaking, I liked overall how we handled adversity. There was a lot of adversity, and I liked the way we maintained our composure, played with a high level of confidence, and especially when you're playing against an experienced team that's been a perennial participant in the NCAA tournament. So we strategically wanted to play against a really, really, really good basketball team. And we accomplished that. So it was a good test for our guys. And there was a lot of takeaways and videos that we can break down. And it's been a major part of our teaching in getting ready to play another game coming up on Monday and obviously opening up next Friday.
I've got 2. First, what we did see statistically out of the scrimmage looked like you got some backcourt scoring out of Colin, out of Herb. How did the freshmen play in kind of the first against a real NCAA level team?
The one thing I love about our freshmen, they're very confident. There's no lacking in confidence. There's no trying to wind these guys up when they're walking into a practice or a game. So they walked into the game with a lot of confidence. They learned a lot about themselves. They learned a lot about competition. But there was no backing down, and we're fortunate with our returning players, who I continue to emphasize, and our freshmen, that we have a lot of depth at the 1, 2, and 3 positions and 4 positions, both with ability, experience, and we think with Daniel and Dante and Galen and Alex Reese manning the middle, hopefully our front court will catch up with our back court.
And also, and I know it's a couple of days before you play, but you have any status on Riley and Armand?
Okay, good question. Riley's progressing. He's still week to week, but he's started to jog a little bit on our Ultra G and get some conditioning. He's started to shoot a little bit on the court. Armand is still out. He hasn't had any basketball-related activities. So, we're hoping to get Riley back as soon as we can. We'll have an update on him prior to us departing for our trip to play against Memphis. But right now, I'm not sure if he's going to be available for that first game.
You mentioned the strategy behind the scrimmage against Baylor, just with the trip to Canada, with the Todd tip off of that, and now this exhibition. How important is it to have those games that don't really count in the win-loss column to try to build that camaraderie with the newcomers that you have mixed with your veterans?
Well, in a lot of ways, Charlie, those games don't count in terms of wins and losses publicly, but we utilize the wins and losses as a teaching tool privately. So, you go to Canada, and basically I knew we were going to have really 2 hard games in Canada, and both of those games were hard in different ways, playing against some older teams, guys with 23, 24, 25-year-old guys on the roster. That was very strategic, and we needed to play those 3 games. The scrimmage game, the team that we identified that we wanted to play them for a reason. We wanted to play a Power 5 school. We didn't want to play, we played Southern, my alma mater, last year, okay? But we wanted to take it a step higher. And now, tie tip off, allowing the guys to get out there on our court, on our home court, which we have to do a significant better job of protecting this year. That was strategic. And, Alabama-Huntsville, this is a well-coached team. And watching, some of their guys on video, the way they can pass and move without the ball. We struggled defending the 3 last year, and we were, from an analytics standpoint, I think we were last at rebounding missed threes that our opponents took. So this is a great game for us in terms of an opponent with an exhibition. I know I talked to you guys last year about potentially playing 2 exhibition games. That was my goal coming into this year. But basically, when we had opportunity to get this scrimmage game, we couldn't pass it up.
Yeah, you've seemed pretty displeased with the defense so far in preseason. How much of that is kind of a communication thing and just getting the guys on the court together as many times as possible in those type of exhibition settings?
I'm pretty displeased. Is that going to be a headline tomorrow? Is that going to be a headline? Okay. What I'm saying is we have to improve in that area. We have, 8 freshmen and sophomores, and we have 5 guys that have never – freshmen that have never played in a real college game that counts. So we have a ways to go there. Last year, obviously the strength of our team was our defense because we weren't great in the area of pass dribbling and shooting and across the board. So we had to defend and rebound, and we had more experienced players. We had guys that have been in our system, guys that had already played, college basketball on our front line. And Riley obviously had some experience along with Dejon, even though he only played 7 games the year before. So this year with some of the guys that will potentially start games off for us, they don't have a lot of college experience and they haven't been in live situations and had enough reps. So we have a ways to go defensively, but we think we can close the gap and really become a better defensive team and hopefully a better balanced team. That's what we're after.
Have you seen Daniel Giddens really? He's obviously itching to play a game, itching to play against somebody else. How was he in the scrimmage against Baylor, and how has he really improved since getting back on campus?
Well, he was overly physical, and thank God in those scrimmages, you can't foul out. But he's gotten bigger and stronger, and he's still young. Daniel went to school at 17 years old, so even though he's a redshirt sophomore, he's still fairly young, and he's learning and developing. But he'll do whatever you ask him to do, and he's embracing his role of being that physical, tough guy, tons of energy, anchoring our defense. And there'll be some times where you see him backing up Dante, and there'll sometimes where we can go really big and play those guys together. And fortunately, this year we can have a lot of different combinations on the floor. But Daniel's a big part of what we're doing, and we need that toughness. He's played on a high level of college basketball before, so this is not his first go around in playing with a Power 5 conference. But we need his confidence, his energy, his physicality, his ability to set screens and separate, rebound out of his area. Those are the things that he's capable of, and he's a pretty good passer.
You mentioned all the different kinds of lineups you can do. A lot of times, I assume you might be playing with 3 or 4 different guards. How important is that to have that many different ball handlers on the court at the same time?
It's important because that was a major issue for us last year. You can look at games where we had a lot of hiccups because we didn't handle the ball very well. You can look at the Florida game here at home. They went to a little 1-3-1 trap. We didn't handle it well, and they got away from us at the end. And I can point to a lot of games. And there'll be times this year where we start off with 2 point guards to start the game off, or 3 guards, however you want to phrase it. And we need those guys to make good decisions for us, and they're capable of it. He can finish the last one. Go ahead.
So what have you seen out of Herb Jones so far? I know that, like Cecil said, he had a lot of scoring in the Baylor scrimmage. How has he progressed?
Herb's played at a high level. He defends his position. It's crazy the comments that I get from a lot of the scouts that attend our practices. And we've had more scouts. This is independent of the pro day, okay? This is when scouts come in 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 at a time. And it's just amazing what people are saying about him defensively. And he's just a kid that can, he's skilled. He can see the floor. He can shoot it. He's very smart, high basketball IQ, great feel for the game. And, he's getting better and better. And they're all challenging each other. It's amazing to see Colin and Herb and Reese and Patty and Gail, and even in the classroom, it's amazing to see how competitive they are against each other on and off the floor. But, Herb is, kid that we think he can continue to get better and play at a high level for us. But, we got to do a really good job of coaching him up and giving him the confidence to do what he needs to do on the floor.
AJ told us that, they don't want to look at the rankings. They don't want to look at the preseason polls and all that. But that's not something you guys have really had to worry about here the last 3-4 years. I mean, how do you approach that with the guys, balancing being excited about the hype, but also, kind of tempering it with you still have to go on the court and produce?
You mean like, we wish we had the problem of being number 2 in the country? Maybe have a little bit added motivation and fuel, maybe one day we'll have that problem. But, for us, that's something we've been working towards. Obviously, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. But when our team is being recognized in certain polls as being 25th or 26th in the country, that's a big step for us. We don't talk about it. It's something that's out there, but we feel with the way we've recruited and the way we've worked, we just want to be able to earn our way. And sometimes a ranking can't tell the full story. We'll figure out if we're as good as we're ranked or worse. or better. So I just think that's something that we really don't talk about. But at the same time, for our program, basketball, we're glad that there are folks out there that recognize the hard work that we put in. We're not satisfied. We have a long ways to go. We hope, when it's all said and done, we'll be ranked a lot higher than where we are now. But it's, today, I'm looking at this practice plan. We have work to do. We're not playing exactly like a ranked team right now, consistently enough in practice, in every drill, every situation. But the hope is, we'll get there. Early in the season, we may have a couple of bumps in the road. But if you look at where we started off last year and how we trended upward going into the SEC tournament, I thought we were peaking at the right time. And outside of a couple of missed free throws and careless turnovers, which plagued us all year, who knows what could have happened. So hopefully we'll be consistently good in the areas where we need to be good on a repetitive basis. And we think if we can do that, we'll give ourselves a chance with the depth of our roster, which we're hoping we can wear teams down as the game goes on. Anybody else? Matt, you're good now? Good. All right. You've been working out? Good. Okay. All right. Yours do too. All right. Thanks, guys.